Hey everyone, today we're taking a look at page 28 in your lesson book. As you can see, it's more tunes practicing the positions that we've been working on. So mostly second position has been our focus for the last couple of lessons. So now we're going to incorporate that into some melodies. If you're a viola, you're playing in first, second, and third position. And I know there is at least one exercise on page 28 where you're in all three. At some point, you're in first, second, or third throughout that exercise. Cellos, as usual, you have a few more positions to deal with. So first position, second extended, third extended, and fourth. So 6 different options for you. And we're going to take a look starting at 126. Violas, this is kind of a nice one to practice your second position because you stay in second the whole time. And I always say the hardest thing about second position is knowing what finger plays what note, because we're so used to the first and third, and to have something right in the middle like that for second position is really, really tough to read. So this is a great one to reinforce some of that second position stuff. And your finger pattern, because it's in the key of B flat, will be like this for both the, D and G strings. And I don't think you really leave those strings for this whole exercise. So thinking whole, half as you're playing. Cellos, you're actually in first position for most of this. So as long as you watch your key signatures, B flats and E flats, you'll be fine. There's one small shift to second extended. All right. So I'm going to find my first note in F. It's okay to do that, especially if you're not as familiar with second position and where it is. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. All right, very good. Hopefully that was a nice warm-up for you. And 127 will also be a nice warm-up because this one is the easiest on the page for sure. Especially for violas, you're in first position the whole time. Again, cellos, you do a little bit of second extended, and then I take it back. This is not the easiest one for cello. I'm sorry, I was only looking at the first line. Cellos, yeah, you play in second extended, and you also have a little bit of fourth and a little bit of third extended. So it's just the violas that kind of luck out on this one. But cellos, you will have some shifting to do. So here we go. We're in the key of C major, so no sharps, no flats. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, ready, here we go. Now, 128, you probably was the first thing that caught your eye when you opened the page up, because there's a lot going on here. The good news is it actually is easier than it looks. Since it's in 3/8, some of those rhythms just have some extra beams, and they're actually rhythms that you've played before. They just look a little bit different. So if you go to the third complete measure, remember a pickup doesn't count as a measure, so we're looking for the third complete measure. You'll see there's some 16th notes, but also some 32nd notes in there. When you play that, it's just going to sound like this. Here's the third complete measure. And I played the first beat of the fourth measure, so it's. Okay. If you get that in your ear, that shouldn't be too bad. Okay. And it's a similar rhythm down at measure 8. Okay. So just because you see lots of lines and bars, don't freak out. Most of the time, it's not too bad if you just listen to it and say, oh, I've played something like that before. Now, on top of that, there is a lot of shifting in this one. Cellos are shifting basically every measure or every other measure in the first line. And then you kind of hang out in second extended position for a while. So you're getting a lot of practice with that position today. And then finally end it in first. Violas, this is one of the ones where you are in every position. You start in second, go to first, second, and then you go to third. So you're going to do everything over the course of this exercise. And the biggest thing is making sure you know what fingers are playing which note. Okay, so we're going to find our first note here. It's a C. And we're going to give this one a whirl. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, go. Good. So hopefully 3 measures from the end you caught. They did make that a B natural. So there is that one accidental in there. And yeah, there's some really strange shifts in there. You just have to, you maybe move up like violas. There's a spot where you play it. You just have to go back for one note. Oh no, that's in the next one. Never mind about that. But there are some shifts there. For example, in measure 7 violas, where you go from playing that G with your first finger, and then you have to go back and replace it with your second finger. So anytime you have something like that, you always have to make sure it stays in tune. It would be really obvious if you switched to the same note and it was a little out of tune, so people would know something was up there. So, all right, last one here, 129. This is a really fun one, but there is a lot, again, going on with this as well. So the first thing you might notice as you're looking through this is that there are a lot of accidentals. So that just complicates things even more to have to stray from the key signature. This is in the key of F major, so we have B flats, but you can see right away in the second complete measure, remember, don't count that pickup as a measure. The second complete measure, we have a G sharp. So depending on what position you're in, it will be different, but you're going to have to play that G sharp a half step higher than where your finger originally was going to be. Okay, it's the same thing in the third complete measure. You all of a sudden have a B natural. So again, depending on what position you're in, you're going to change to make sure it's a B natural. I always like to point out in measure 5, they've marked it as a B flat. They did not have to do that. They were being nice. They're saying, we know that you played a B natural in measure 3, and we want to remind you that the key signature says to play a B flat. But sometimes it's confusing when you see that, because most of you are familiar with that rule, that once you get out of the measure with the accidental, it resets to the key signature. So sometimes it actually will throw people off to have the key signature notes marked, if you know what I mean. So measure 5 might look strange to you. I know I've played pieces of music where they, on a regular basis, would mark like F sharps or C sharps. And it made me think that maybe the Fs and Cs weren't supposed to be sharp. They kind of messed with, when you know the rules and they change up the rules, it makes it difficult to play. So measure 5, they did not have to do that. They were just trying to be nice. And then actually, you more commonly will see it the way it looks in 13 with the accidental, or with the flat in parentheses, because we call that a courtesy accidental. It means we're just reminding you. So they really should have put it in parentheses at measure 5. Again, lots of different types of shifts going on here. Violas, the shift I was talking about in the last one that I made the mistake on, is here in measure 14. For quite a while previous to that, you're playing in second position, and then you just go down in measure 14 to first position for that one note to reach your E, and you go back to second position. So let's give this one a try here. 129. 1, 2, 3, here we go. All right, so keep working on these. Remember, we want them to be really accurate. You don't want to be sliding into different notes. We want to just know right where our fingers go, and we'll play through these together in your lesson.